Hey everyone, I'm Liza, and today I will be giving you tips on how to pass your Disney College program, web-based interview, and phone interview.
Yeah.
And if this is your first time to my channel, just a little bit about myself. I got accepted into the Spring Advantage 2019 for Walt Disney World Orlando, Florida. So I leave in just a few weeks. I am so very excited. And what's so crazy is that this was my first and only time applying to the DCP, which is insane, and it was obviously successful. So this is exactly why I'm here filming for you guys this video, because I want to leave you with the tips and things that worked for me during this whole process. And I know this whole process is so nerve-wracking. I do not doubt that it was nerve-wracking for me, but honestly, just be calm about it. Take these tips to hand, do some more research if you feel like you need more things to grasp onto, which is okay, and you're gonna be fine. Just don't overthink it. So moving on to the web-based interview process, or WBI as many of us call it, this means, if you move on to this means that you pass the application process. They liked your application, which is awesome. So the way you're gonna move on to the web-based interview, they should email you. So again, like I said in my last video, just stay updated on your email, because you never know when Disney is gonna email you. They could email you at any time. So once you click on the link to start your web-based interview, you'll see that they give you 40 minutes to complete the whole interview. It shouldn't take you that long. It took me about 20 minutes, and I noticed with a lot of other people, they take about 20 minutes to complete it as well. But if you take the whole 40 minutes, that's okay too. This isn't a contest to see who's fastest at it. It's just because the questions are very self-explanatory. They are not difficult questions. The whole interview is basically like a personality test. They want to see your personality in the workspace, how you are towards your customers, how you are towards your coworkers, how diligent of a worker you are. So these are questions that you should already know the answers to. They're about 15, 20 to 30 seconds long. So again, like I said, don't stress about it. Don't worry about the time too much, because you should already know the answers to these questions. So something you should know and expect going into the WBI is that it's like a multiple choice. It's not a written answer kind of thing. And the way you answer the multiple choice can basically either help you out a lot or really just screw up this whole thing for you. I know it sounds scary, but it's true. Sorry to say, because a lot of people do not pass the web-based interview because of this one particular thing. So, for example, they'll ask you a question and they'll have strongly agree, agree, neutral, disagree, strongly disagree. But the thing is, like I said, a lot of people do not pass this because they always press neutral. And this is the thing, Disney wants workers that are sure of what they're doing, that are confident in their work and, their work ethics. But when you're pressing neutral, it just kind of seems like you're just so unsure and not sure of yourself at all. But so my tip to you is to always push either strongly disagree, or even sometimes if you have to, just press to disagree, or if you strongly agree, or just sometimes agree, but try and stray away from neutral. I think I probably pressed it maybe once, maybe not even, I honestly don't remember, but I knew to stay away from the neutral button. So please stay away from the neutral button. And I also just recommend altogether just pressing the strongest to strongly disagree and strongly agree. Try not to put just agree or disagree as much. It's okay. You're not gonna not pass if you do, but try and pick one of the strongest two, because like I said, it shows that you are very sure of yourself. It shows that you are sure and very confident in who you are as a worker. And it's obvious what Disney looks for in a worker, and that's where, the WBI questions and answers become very obvious, because you know what Disney expects. So you're obviously gonna try your best to like gravitate towards what they want to hear. But still, I recommend that you just be honest. Be honest with them, because sometimes honesty is the best way to go. And if your personality is not fitting any of the Disney traits, and I know it's Disney, so you want to be in Disney, you want to work at Disney because you love Disney, but in reality, you know your personality and work ethics don't meet up to what Disney expects, then honestly, this probably may not be for you, you know? It's sad to say, but it's true, because if you go in with it, like, let's say, lying through, like, with, you know, flying colors through these, you know, questions, you're just gonna probably end up realizing, stuck over there, that this is not something that you enjoy, something that is not for you. Like, for example, the one question that you will definitely see on the WBI is, are you always, or I'm always on time? And then you have to pick one of the strongly agree, disagree, you know, kind of things. But this is where you have to pay attention, because it can get a little tricky with the questions. They will ask the same question but reword it so that it looks different, but you want to be consistent with your answer. So just read them carefully. I know it's not a lot of time to really complete it, so you're kind of almost in a rush. I honestly, personally, I missed one question because I ran out of time and I was freaking out. But I'm here, so it's okay. Just take your time. I'm not saying to miss all the questions, but take your time and you'll be okay. Just make sure you read them carefully, and again, stay consistent with your answer, because if you're not, like I said before, it's going to show that you're very inconsistent, that you are unsure of yourself, and that it's not something that Disney wants. So moving on from the web-based interview onto the phone interview, or PI as some people call it, you will find out right after you submit your WBI whether you passed or not. I believe some people get waitlisted, but I passed, and right after I passed, I found out. It said, congratulations, you get to move on to the phone interview, the next step, and right from there, it took me to a page where I was able to schedule my phone interview. So when you're scheduling your phone interview, make sure you pick a date and a time that you know you're going to be available, that you know you're not going to be busy doing something else, a time where you know you're going to have your own quiet personal space, and it'll also tell you and let you know to make sure that it is a place where you have signal, where you have full-on connection, because I hear some horror stories of people getting disconnected and it can be scary. They'll normally call you back if that happens, but you want to be sure that everything is fine. So make sure you have good service, good reception, where they can hear you clearly and you could hear them clearly, and make sure that you also are in a quiet place, because they don't want any noise in the background. It can sometimes, you know, muffle up the sound. You just want to make sure you're completely free. So this process, along with the last two, is also scary, but it has to be probably the scariest of them all, because this is it. This is the last step. This is what makes or breaks your whole process of getting into the DCP. If you fail from the phone interview, it can suck, because that was it. That was your last chance. But I have faith in you. You will be totally fine with all these tips on how to pass your phone interview. So my first piece of advice, I guess, would be to remain calm. And I said that in the last one, but it's true, because like I said, this is scary and sometimes the nerves get the best of us. Make sure you approach this phone call with being happy, friendly, like I said, like something that Disney would look for, and you want to hear that over the phone, but don't be fake about it. Don't like be completely fake, like, oh my gosh, yes, on Disney. Like, no, like relax, because it's gonna sound like too much, like you're trying too hard. Just relax, be yourself, and like I said, just show that you're interested, show that you're very excited for this without saying those words, if you catch my drift. So you want to be enthusiastic throughout the whole entire interview process, and along with that, unlike the application and the WBI, this is where you really get to show your personality, who you really are. This is where you get to show how professional and friendly you are. So some of the questions that they'll probably end up asking you are questions like, have you lived with a lot of people? Or if there is an issue in the room, how would you go about, you know, resolving it? They'll ask questions like fun questions like, how many times have you been to Disney World? Or what's your favorite ride? They'll ask questions like, how do you think Disney will better your career or your future? And another question that they'll definitely ask you is, why do you want to do the Disney College program? And it's obvious why we want to do it is because we love Disney, and they already know that. I did mention that, but I made sure that wasn't the point. I told him, I said, well, obviously I like Disney, I love Disney, but, and then I gave him another, you know, answer to go along with that. but they already know that. So I technically didn't even have to mention that. You don't have to mention that. And just give another reason as to why you would love to be a part of the Disney College Program and why you would love to be a Disney cast member. For example, for me, I said something along the lines of how I would love for it to improve, my work ethics, just being there. I also mentioned how since character performer was one of my top roles, that it would help me better my career if I ended up passing auditions. And I also mentioned something along the lines of how, and this is truthful, how I love how culturally diverse Disney World is as far as the guests coming in. And I mentioned how I would love to interact with them and get to know them and help them and make them feel as comfortable as possible. So those were my reasons, but basically that's my point. Just find another reason, because it's obvious we all love Disney and that's why we're here. But what is your reason for wanting to do the Disney College Program? Another question he ended up asking me was in regards to another top role I had, which was character attendant. He asked me, okay, so you're a character attendant attending Winnie the Pooh, and there's a whole bunch of kids waiting to see him, but Winnie the Pooh has to go on break. So what would you say to them? So that was another question he asked me. So depending on your roles, they may ask different questions that aren't part of the commonly asked questions. So just keep a heads up, but again, remain calm. It's okay. That was a pretty easy, question to answer. And he asked me a few other questions that I haven't heard of them asking anyone else as well. And to help you guys out, I'm going to link down below in my description box a website that has a lot of the commonly asked questions on phone interview, so that way you can kind of expect what's coming your way. But when you do read these questions and expect it to come your way, do not over rehearse, because sometimes when you over rehearse, it gets to your head too much and then you end up like messing up and getting more nervous when there's really no need for that. I just kind of skimmed through them and thought about my answer and what I would say, and that was really it. I didn't really over rehearse and everything went fine. So when answering the questions, don't give too short of an answer, but also don't give too long of an answer. Just give something that's straight to the point and shows your interest with enthusiasm as to why you are perfect for the Disney College Program. And lastly, my last piece of advice for you for the phone interview process is to leave 2 questions to ask at the very end. Try and come up with some questions. It shows your interest and it shows that you really want to do this. And so they love when you ask questions. So I asked 2 questions. I asked something along the lines about the seminars and the classes, because I did want to know more about them and I wasn't sure at the time if they were mandatory or not, but he answered that for me. And I also asked him if they are, or if not, whatever the answer is, which one he would recommend. And he loved that I got to ask him like what he would pick and to kind of help me out a bit. And the second question I asked, what piece of advice would you give to a first-time Disney College Program intern or cast member? And that was the best question ever, because I left that question for last and it actually ended up into being an amazing conversation with my interviewer. Ends up we had a lot of common things. We have the same faith in Christianity, and it was just awesome being able to talk to him. He was encouraging me both for the Disney College Program and spiritually for like about 15 minutes, and it was just so awesome. It was really the best thing. So yeah, just leave 2 questions. It's gonna be awesome and it's gonna show your interest, and who knows what awesome conversations it could lead to. So that's my last piece of advice for you. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope this helped you guys out. Because it was my first time applying, I'm really hoping and rooting for you that these tips help you, because these were the tips that I paid attention to the most going into the interview process. So hopefully it helps you. I really hope so. If you have any other questions, please leave them down below. Feel free to, don't be scared. Give this video a thumbs up and please hit the subscribe button, because guys, I leave in like about 2 or 3 weeks and I am so stoked, and I really want you guys to come along on the journey with me. I have so many things planned for cool videos and collabs, so hit that subscribe button, and hopefully I'll see you soon in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!